morning, and thanks a million for joining me on the yoga mat this week. We are going to be focusing on balance and stability. So we're going to be experimenting a little bit with our single-legged balances. And if you think in our day-to-day life, in every movement that we do, we're in a constant state of motion. Even when we're sitting here, actually, we're having to balance out our hips. So balance isn't just when we're going into those difficult poses where we're really having to kind of focus. It's actually every movement that we do within our day. And when you think about how we walk, how we run, we're always in a single-legged balance. So our single-legged balances in particular can be really helpful to our movement and to our sport, again, if we're coming from a sports background. So if we're landing imbalanced or on an unstable platform, and we're doing that repetitively, and even if it is just on one side, we'll find the other side's having to compensate. Over time, we're going to develop little weaknesses and imbalances, and the body's going to try to save us. It's going to create little compensatory patterns, which will help us for a while, but inevitably, if we continue to move in that kind of unstable state, that's when we'll probably pick up a few little niggles and injuries. So we're going to try to really tune in and listen to our bodies this morning and notice if there's any little imbalances, because sometimes it's only when we slow the movement down in a practice like yoga that we can really tune in to those kind of finer movements and kind of notice, oh yeah, I'm kind of standing a little bit funny on this, or maybe one leg's a little bit easier to stand on the other, and starting to not just notice but actually try to relate it back to why that's happening, and then trying to address it before it becomes a bigger issue. And then from a kind of mental or psychological point of view, our balance poses can be a really nice way just to ground us. So if our head's all over the place, if we've had a stressed out day at work, or just we can't just focus our mind, just coming into some pose, like say our tree pose, we really have to be in the pose to keep the pose or maintain the pose. So it really allows us to bring focus back into ourselves in that moment. And then that problem mightn't seem so bad when we come out of the pose. Okay, so we're going to start in a nice, easy cross-legged seat. And again, already noticing how we're balanced, noticing if we're leaning a little bit further into the left sit bone, right sit bone. We're going to rest the palms in the knees, relax the shoulders back, really opening into that heart space. See if we can lengthen through the spine a little bit more. And relax the breath. See if we can send it a little bit deeper down into the belly. We're going to inhale, press the chest all the way over to the right. Bring it through center all the way over to the left. And as we exhale, tuck the chin, we'll round between the shoulder blades and continue with your own breath. Nice full circles. Using the heels of the hands, we're going to press them into the knees to draw ourselves a little bit further forward. Press yourselves a little bit further back, but also press yourselves a little bit further out to the sides. So again, really trying to lengthen into the waist here as we go through that side movement. Just exploring the body where it is this morning, creating a little bit of space, a little bit of energy without forcing it. Allow the head and neck move freely, even allow the weight of the head, maybe bring us a little bit deeper into those circles. And relax the breath softly in and out through the nose, but do feel free to sigh it out if it feels like you're releasing an extra little bit of tension here this morning. We're going to meet back in center. In seat, and we'll reverse the crisscross of the legs, just balance out those hips, palms are rested, and we'll inhale, press the chest to the left, bring it through center all the way over to the right, and as we exhale, tuck the chin and around. Continue with your own breath. Nice strong circles. Slow the movement right down and exaggerate that movement. See if we've got a little bit more range. This is a really lovely one for opening up the spine, particularly that lower back. Working into the glutes, again, continuing to press the heels of the hands into those legs to draw ourselves a little bit deeper. And then we'll meet back at center in seat. We're going to open the palms to the ceiling and then inhale both arms out, reach it up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward and really stretch between those shoulders. We'll do that twice more. So nice big stretch. As we inhale, take the gaze up. And as we exhale, press forward and release. We'll do that once more. Lovely. We're going to inhale the right arm up, bend the elbow, and we're going to drape the hand across the head. Gently draw that right ear toward the right shoulder. So just make sure we're not drawing the right shoulder toward the ear. Keep drawing that shoulder down. And we're going to reach that left hand across the body, resting it wherever we can on the leg, that we're just getting a nice gentle stretch into the neck. And when we can't go any further, we're going to gently tilt the chin toward the chest. Now that right hand is just rested on the head. We're not tugging into the neck. Just get a nice little bit of space. Keep drawing that left shoulder away. Every inhale, think about lengthening through the spine, and every exhale, maybe tuck that chin a little bit more. And then gently inhale back to center. We'll reverse. Inhale that left arm up, and as we exhale, bend the elbow, drape the hand, drawing that left ear toward the shoulder. As far as we can go, maybe reaching that right hand across the body, resting it wherever it lands. Stay here and then gently tuck that chin. And again, finding that sweet spot. So don't be afraid to move the head a little bit until we find that nice release. So we're working into the neck, into trapezius, up into the upper back, a little bit into the shoulder here as well. And again, not forcing it, but notice if we're getting a little bit more length in one side, more so than the other. And gently come back to center. Last one, we're going to interlock fingers. We're going to place the palms of the hands to the back of the head, allow the elbows relax, and just gently tuck that chin toward the chest. So working both sides here. Again, hands are just rested. As we inhale, lengthen, and as we exhale, tuck the chin a little bit more. And then gently release, resting the palms on the knees. We're going to inhale at center, and as we exhale, look all the way over to the right as far as we can go, over the shoulder if we can. Inhale back through center, exhale, gaze all the way over to the left. Continue this with your own breath. And again, just noticing if we can rotate a little bit easier on one side compared to the other. And that doesn't just mean it's the neck. It could be the shoulder. It could be the core. It could even be the hips. So again, as I said, the body has a really nice way of creating little compensations where there are imbalances, where there are niggles, but it's just finding the root of that niggle. Lovely. I'm meeting back at center. We're going to reverse the crisscross of the legs. Opening the palms, we'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, and as we exhale, gently twist to the right. We'll place the left hand above the knee, right hand on the ground behind us, nice and close to the lower back. As we inhale, press the hand into the ground, lengthen tall. And as we exhale, press the left hand into the leg. We're going to really draw that right shoulder back. Looking over the shoulder, drawing those shoulders away from the ears. Walking that right hand all the way around that lower body so we can really draw that right shoulder back. We'll inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Nice full belly breaths, creating a little bit of space into the core and spine here. Nice little bit of openness into the heart. One more breath. And then inhale gently back through center, little twist to the left, and then back to center again. Last time, we'll reverse that crisscross, opening the palms, and then inhale both arms out, reaching up. And as we exhale, gently twist to the left. We'll place the right hand above the knee, left hand on the ground behind us, all the way around the lower back. Draw that left shoulder back. We're going to inhale, lengthen. And as we exhale, gently twist. And again, that twist is starting in the lower spine. It's moving into the rib cage, into the chest, and all the way out through the neck. Drawing those shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. One more breath here. And then inhale gently back through center, and as we exhale, gently twist to the right. Lovely. From here, we're going to come to life, back on our mats. Just make sure you have your block and your strap there beside you within reach. Slowly lowering ourselves down onto the ground. Knees are bound, feet are flat to start with. We're going to hug the right knee in, and we're going to rest that right ankle just above the left knee. Figure 4, draw the toe toward the knee, press the knee away from the body. Lifting the left foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling. We can interlock fingers or wrap our strap around the back of the hamstring. See if we can press that right knee a little bit further forward. So notice if it's pointed over your shoulder, see if you can point it out to the right or even a wee bit forward. Staying here, working into the hip. If you want to get a little bit more into your foundation, we're going to inhale, straighten the left leg, pointing through the toes. And as we exhale, draw the toe toward the face. So we're inhaling, pointing. And we're exhaling, flexing. Continue with your own breath. Just get a little bit of mobility into those lower limbs, into those ankles. And exaggerate that point and flex. See how much we can go. We're going to create a few nice big circles to the right. Again, continuing to press that right knee away. So we're still working into the hips, making sure that lower back is grounded, shoulder blades are melting together on the ground. And again, really consciously trying to make those circles a little bit rounder and a little bit larger each time. We're going to reverse the circle opposite direction. So again, our feet play such an important part in our balance. I want you to really focus on the big toe this morning. So when we do come into our balance poses, try pressing that big toe into the ground. So our connection of the big toe on the earth can be a real key factor in how we maintain our balance and how we use that lower leg. And relax. We're going to bend the knee, allow the foot drop to the ground. We're going to stay in our figure four. Hands come to the ground, fingertips brush the back of the heel. We're going to work for bridge. If figure four is too much, feel free to place both feet to the ground. Pressing the left foot into the ground, we're going to gently peel the lower, middle, upper back off the ground. We'll walk those shoulder blades together, taking the pressure off the head and neck. Pressing hands, arms, shoulders, foot into the ground. We lift those hips as high as we can. We're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, gently lower the hips, hovering them just off the mat. Inhale really slowly up. Exhale really slowly lower and continue with your own breath. So again, we're trying to create a little bit of space into the hips, a little bit of mobility into the hips. They're one of our best stabilizers. So in order to create strength and stability, we need to access that mobility first. Really hard to engage with a stiff muscle or stiff joints. So we're creating that space so that when we do come into our balance poses, hopefully it'll become a little bit easier. Last one. And then slowly release all the way down to the ground. Extend both arms out in line with the shoulders, palms down. We'll cross the right leg fully over left. Shift the hips a little bit to the right. Allow both knees drop over to the left. Nice little spinal twist. Looking over toward the right fingertips, we'll inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as we exhale, gently twist. We can use that left knee to press the right leg a little bit further across the body. Nice full belly breaths here. Gluing that right shoulder to the ground, feeling that space across the front of the chest. One more breath. And then gently inhale back to center. We're going to hug the right knee in. And again, we're going to press that left foot into the ground, lift the hips. So we're working into bridge again. We're working a lot into the hamstring here this morning, trying to create a little bit of space. Pressing the hands to the ground, fingertips point to the front of the mat, and we're going to straighten that right leg. We're going to inhale, lift, and as we exhale, gently lower. Continue with your own breath. So just keeping that right leg extended if we can, aiming for height. Knees are glued together. If we want to work deeper again into the hamstring, we can try pressing that left heel into the ground. So we're getting a little bit of strength here. Again, option only. Working our balance. So the least points of contact on the ground, the more challenging our balance is. We'll take one more. And then slowly release all the way down to the ground. Hugging the right knee in toward the armpit. We're going to straighten that left leg down. Right hand is on the shin, left hand is on the hip. Inhale, press shin into hand. And as we exhale, open into that right hip space. Keep the hip open. Inhale, shin into hand. Exhale, open a little bit more. Continue here with your own breath, working into our deep psoas muscle. Keep pressing that left hip down. Keep the lower back grounded. Feel that across the front of the pelvis and into that right hip. And again, we're not forcing the hip open. We're activating on the inhale and just gently releasing on the exhale. One more breath. Gently hugging that right knee back into the chest. We'll bend the left knee, place the foot flat, and we bring that right foot down to meet left. Hugging the left knee in, we're going to rest the left ankle just above the right knee, draw the toe toward the knee, press the knee away from the body. We're going to lift the right foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling, either interlock fingers or strap around the back of the hamstring. Gently walk the shoulder blades together, connect the whole length of the spine to the ground. And as we exhale, draw the right knee in as we press that left knee away from the body. Keep drawing the left toe toward the knee. We're keeping that lower leg engaged, no pressure on that left knee joint. Stay here, working into the left hip. We're going to inhale, straighten the right leg up toward the ceiling, pointing through the toes. And as we exhale, draw the toe toward the knee. Inhale, point. And exhale, flex. Continue with your own breath and notice how it feels compared to the other side. Have we got a little bit more range? Is it a little bit stiffer? And again, we'll create those lovely full circles to the right, painting those circles with the right big toe. So again, the movement is just at the ankle here. We're still pressing the left knee away from the body, working into that left hip. But just bringing a little bit more consciousness to our foundation. And again, notice if that circle is a little bit less smooth. So again, just tuning into any little irregularities, any little imbalances. We're going to reverse those circles, opposite direction, nice and easy. Relax the breath. Notice if we're holding it. The more these circles we do, we will start to feel the leg fatigue. So we know we're doing quite a little bit of engagement here in those lower leg muscles. We're going to relax. Bend the knee, allow the foot return to the ground. Staying in our figure four or both feet on the ground. A full bridge is more for you this morning. Hands to the ground, fingertips brush the back of that heel. That foot is in line with the knee and it's not tracking off to the center. We're going to press the foot into the ground and gently peel the lower, middle, upper back off the ground as we lift those hips high. Walking the shoulder blades together. See if we can lift the hips a little bit higher. Notice if that left knee is pointed upward. See if we can point it out to the left or even slightly downward. We're going to inhale, lift. And as we exhale, gently lower, hovering the hips just off the ground. Inhale, really slowly up. Exhale, really slowly lower. Continue with your own breath. Keep walking those shoulder blades together. There's no stress on the head and neck here. If you want to work a little bit deeper into the hamstring, pressing that right heel only into the ground. So we're hovering off the toes. And you feel those hamstrings activate a little bit more. So sometimes if the hips are tight, those hamstrings can feel tight, but often they're over lengthened. And so the best thing there to do is to mobilize the hips and then strengthen into the hamstrings. So similar to what we're doing right now. Last one. Aiming for height. And then gently lower all the way down to the ground. Extend both arms out in line with the shoulders, palms down. We'll cross that left leg fully over the right. Nice and easy. Shift the hips a little bit to the left and then allow both knees drop over to the right. Spinal twist. We're going to look over toward the left fingertips. If you find you're not fully in the twist, just shift those hips ever so slightly to the left. So ideally the left hip is stacked on top of the right. Both hip bones are centered down the midline of the mat. We can use that right knee or right leg to press the left leg a little bit further across the body, but just make sure you keep that left shoulder grounded. Looking over toward the left fingertips, nice full belly breath, using that belly breath to really mobilize into the core here. One more breath. And then gently inhale back to center. We'll hug that left knee into the chest. Pressing the right foot into the ground. We're going to gently lift the hips as high as we can. Hands are to the ground, fingertips point to the front of the room. And then we're going to straighten that left leg out. Knees are together. Again, nice straight line between the belly button and the heart center. We'll inhale, lift. And as we exhale, gently lower the hips, hovering off the ground. Continue here with your own breath. Like in our last one, if you want to focus a wee bit more on the hamstring, feel free to do this with the heel pressed into the ground and just noticing that little bit more engagement in the hamstring muscle. We're still getting into glutes. We're still getting into lower back. Aiming for height. We'll do one more. And then slowly release all the way down to the ground. Hugging the left knee toward the armpit. We're going to straighten that right leg down to the ground. Left hand is on the shin. Right hand rests on the right hip. We'll inhale shin into hand. And as we exhale, allow that left hip open. Keep the hip open. We'll inhale shin into hand. And as we exhale, open a little bit more and continue here with your own breath. Keep grounding that right side of the body into the mat. Keep pressing that lower back into the floor. But again, just getting a little bit of space into our psoas muscles. So this is one of our culprits. When it's tight, and sometimes it can be more tight at one side than the other. So again, just notice if one side feels a little bit more open or a little bit more restricted. And even just using this pose itself, we can create that balance. We can create that space. Relax the breath, relax the shoulders. And then coming to stillness, we'll hug the left knee in. We'll hug the right knee in to meet it. Hands are to the shins, allow both hips open. As we inhale, press both shins into the hands. And as we exhale, open the hips a little bit further. We can continue here, activating in the inhale, opening, releasing in the exhale. If we wish to come into our full happy baby, we can bring the soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling, catch and hold the calves, shins, ankles, maybe inner arches of the feet, or interlock middle and index finger around the big toes. But just make sure we feel really solid in that lower back. Soles of the feet parallel as we can to the ceiling, hamstrings parallel to the ceiling. We're going to inhale, press soles of the feet toward the ceiling, and as we exhale, draw the knees down toward the ground beside us. Inhale, press up. Exhale, draw down. And this can be a major movement or it can be a minor movement depending on where those hips and hamstrings are at this morning. But whatever you do, don't force the movement, particularly those hamstrings. If we're feeling any little twinge up near the sit bones, I want you to back off. Okay, so sometimes those hamstrings are already over lengthened. Stretching into them is not going to help in that case. So again, if that pinching is underneath the sit bone, just back off. We're going to hug those knees into the chest. Crisscross the ankles, options to make your way anyway to seat. We'll rock and roll just the once, bringing ourselves into a nice strong seat at the front of the mat. We'll bring the hands forward out in front, gently shift the body weight forward to step back onto the knees. We're going to find ourselves in a lovely strong tabletop, shoulders over, elbows over wrists, elbow creases face forward. Knees hip width apart, hips are over knees. Again, toes can be tucked or untucked, and just notice if the belly's collapsed here. We're going to press into the ground, really draw that belly button in. And then we'll inhale, take the gaze forward and up as we arch through the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, take the gaze back to the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest and continue with your own breath. Nice strong cat-cow curls, the whole length of the spine here. Releasing, letting go. Coming back to center. Left hand stays on the ground. We're going to extend the right arm forward out in front, press back through the left foot. Holding it here, lifting that back leg, reaching through the fingertips. As we inhale, right elbow, left knee into touch. As we exhale, lengthen it out and lift that back leg. Continue with your own breath. Again, if you want a little bit more into the hamstring, you can bend that left knee as you press the sole of the foot toward the ceiling. If you want to challenge the balance, we're following the right middle finger with the gaze. Last one. Meeting in extension. We're going to straighten the left leg. Inhale here. And as we exhale, bring the right hand out to the right, left foot out to the left as far as we can go. Inhale back through center, maybe cross the body. Exhale, open it out. So again, keep the foot and arm high. Inhale, center, cross. Exhale, open. Last one, center. Exhale, open.
And then we meet back at center. We're going to rest the right hand to the ground, land on the ball of the left foot, press through the heel for 3, for 2, and 1, gently release. And this time, right hand stays grounded. We're going to extend that left arm forward, press back through the right foot. Again, really active here, pressing through heel, reaching through fingertips. Make sure that wrist is in line with the shoulder and that arm is straight. Inhale, left elbow, right knee into touch. Exhale, extend it out and lift that back leg as high as we can go. Continue with your own breath. Again, if you want to focus more into the hamstring, that right knee can be bent. But I really want you to press it as high as you can toward the ceiling. Following the left middle finger with the gaze, otherwise gaze is to the ground, just to the left of that right hand. Again, strong in that right arm, try not to collapse into the elbow. We're going to meet an extension with the arm out front. We'll straighten the right leg. Inhale here at center, and as we exhale, left arm to the left, right foot out to the right. Inhale back to the center, maybe cross the body. Exhale, open it out. Inhale, center and cross. Exhale, open it out. Inhale, center and cross. Exhale, open. We'll meet back at center. Left hand comes to the ground. We're going to land on the ball of the right foot. Press through the heel for 3, for 2, and 1. Right knee comes in to meet left. We'll walk the hands forward out in front. Gently sit back toward the heels, resting the forehead to the ground. And just for a moment, we'll bring those hands back by the feet and melt that space between the shoulder blades. As we inhale, sending those sit bones back to the heels, and as we exhale, releasing between those shoulder blades. Nice full belly breaths. And when we come to our flow practice, anytime you feel like you need to catch your breath or just take a little breather, a little reset, coming back into this shape and relax. We're going to bring the hands forward out in front, gently shift the body weight forward so we can tuck both toes under, sending the body weight back toward the heels and just maybe wriggling through the toes here, getting a nice little stretch into the arches of the feet. Looking back between the toes, we'll press the hands and feet into the ground. Lift those hips as high as we can, lower those heels as low as we can. Into our downward dog, we're pressing the ground away, try to draw the chest a little bit closer toward the mat, really opening that space between the shoulders. See if we can paddle out the feet, allowing opposite heel melt softly toward the ground. And again, not forcing the heels down, but do notice if one side goes down a little bit easier than the other. Again, that could be foot, it could be ankle, it could be calf, it could be tibialis, it could be hamstring. So there's so many things involved with that heel drop, but even just noticing to start with. Looking forward between the hands, we're going to gently walk away to the front of the mat. Come to a lovely wide-legged forward fold here this morning, bringing those feet wider than the width of the mat apart. Allow the weight back into the heels and hips. We should be able to lift those toes quite easy. Fingertips are in line with the toes and they can be on or off a block. Left hand stays grounded. We're going to inhale the right arm up and open the heart as wide as we can. Gaze follows. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left arm up and open the heart. Exhale, release. Continue with your own breath. One hand is always on the ground or the block, and we're pressing that hand into the ground to give ourselves a little bit more leverage into that twist. Notice if we're rotating a little bit easier on one side more so than the other. And again, that could be into the thoracic spine, it could be into the side waist, it could be shoulder, it could be neck, it could be hips. So again, just painting that picture. I'm trying to optimize that range with each movement. And sometimes that's all it needs. It's just a little bit of movement, a little bit of release. Mindful. We'll take one more, whichever side we're on. And then exhale, release and fold. We're going to tuck the chin, Slowly roll our way all the way up to stand. Head comes up last, and then we can heel toe those feet toward each other. Lovely. Before we get into our flow, we're going to work a little bit into our tree pose this morning. So with our balance poses, they're always a little bit easier on a flat surface. So already on our mat, we're going to be challenged. If we're on a carpeted surface, we're going to be challenged more. So take your pick, whatever surface you want. If you want a challenge, it's softer. And if you want, you can locate yourself near a wall or a chair just to touch off, not to rely on too much, but sometimes it's just nice to have a little aid. So we're going to start with feet hip width distance apart, hands to hips. Relax the shoulders back, opening into that heart space. We're going to rotate the right hip open and we're going to rest the right heel just above the ankle. Important here, notice if that left hip collapses out, we're going to try and pop it back in so both hips are level for our whole balance. We're looking for stability here in our core. We can bring the hands to heart. We're going to find a point out in front to focus our gaze, our drishti point, ideally something that's not moving. If that feels good, see if we can open the hip a little bit more, but just the hip, not the body. So hips are still forward. Maybe bring the right foot to rest on the calf, but keep drawing that right knee outward. And if that feels good, we can bring the right foot to the upper inner thigh, but again, keep opening into the hip. So if that knee is pointed forward, just drop the foot back to the calf until we have that space and stability in the hips. Relax the shoulders. See if we can grow the spine a little bit longer. Grounding that left foot into the mat. And again, noticing as you press the left big toe into the ground, we're going to get a little bit more rooted. Relax the shoulders. Relax the breath. See if we can draw that belly button in. Feel free to stay here if you want to open into your full tree. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. And as we exhale, opening our arms into our branches, we press index finger and thumb together, creating a little energy mudra or another focus point. Relax the shoulders. Notice if the rib cage is flaring, just draw that belly button in. Keep that point of focus. If we want to challenge the pose, we can sway our branches, bring in movement into our balance. We can twist through our trunk. We can close down the eyes, taking that point of focus out of our balance. That's a real challenge. Or if we want to create lesser points of contact to the ground, we can always try hovering off the heel. So again, that's really good for your ankle stability, strength. And even if it's just literally a mil off the ground, and even just for half a second, just challenging ourselves. And the nice thing with our balances is we can only get better. So the more times we fall, the body will start to remember. It'll start to get a little bit stronger. Okay, wherever we are, just trying to maintain that stillness, that calmness. Relax the shoulders for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, right knee back out in front. We'll bring the hands to heart and slowly release. We're going to shake that left foot out. So again, you feel that strength into that left leg already. And when you're ready, other side, feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart, hands to hips, relax the shoulders, opening into the heart, grounding that right foot. We're going to rotate the left hip open, rest the heel just above the ankle, hands to heart, find our point. Notice if we're getting a little bit more space into that left hip, and if we're not, see if we can press that left knee back a little bit further. Maybe rest the foot to the calf, again, still opening into the hip. Notice if that right hip's popped out. So again, really tall in the spine here. Maybe bring the left foot to the upper inner thigh. So wherever that foot is, just make sure it's not pressing laterally into the knee itself. It's either above or below or down by the ankle. Relax the shoulders, lengthening tall, growing our spine, growing our tree. If that feels good, we're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, opening our arms into a full tree, pressing index finger and thumb together. And you might notice one side's a little bit easier than the other. So again, a really good way of tuning in with any little imbalances here. Relax the breath, relax the shoulders, softening the gaze. Feel free to challenge our balance, maybe swaying our branches, maybe rotating through our trunk. Maybe closing down the eyes. And again, these are options only. Maintain stillness if that feels better. See if we can hover off that right heel. And again, if you fall out, just come back in. So again,
Our balance poses are a lovely little life lesson too. So not just giving up because we fall, each fall making us a little bit stronger, a little bit more resilient, but it's the coming back that counts. Wherever we are, pausing here in stillness for 3, for 2, and 1. Left knee out front, hands back to heart. We'll release and let it go. Lovely. Shake that right foot out. Take a little drink here if you need. We're going to move into a nice little balance flow practice to finish out this morning. So again, not the easiest. Again, if you want, you can locate yourself near a wall in case you need just to touch off for some of the single-legged balances. Coming to the front of the mat, feet are nicely grounded, hip width distance apart. Arms are by the sides, shoulders relaxed, palms are open. This can be done on or off the mat as well. Finding a point out in front to focus our gaze. Grounding the left foot, we're going to inhale, lift the right knee out in front. As we exhale, flip the palms back. We're going to press that right foot back as far as we can go and then gently hinge the body weight forward. But keep that gaze focused to that point out in front. Inhale, lift the right knee high up, out in front. Exhale, flip the palms back as we press the right foot back and then gently hinge the body weight forward. Inhale, lift the right knee out in front. This time as we exhale, we're going to press that right foot back and then we're going to land on the ball of the right foot, finding ourselves into a nice high lunge. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Interlock all fingers, bar index finger and thumb. As we exhale, we're going to fold over that left leg, but we're not going to rest the belly. So keep a nice straight line through the fingertips, arms are back in line with the ears. We're bending into the left knee for 3, for 2, and 1. If we can, we're going to lift that right foot off the ground. So again, keeping those arms extended out in front. This is our warrior 3. Lifting that back leg, pointing through the fingers for 3, for 2, and 1. And again, we're going to gently release down onto the ball of the right foot, opening into the heart, and then we'll frame the left foot. Well done. Dropping the right heel down, we'll engage the core, coming up into our warrior. Extend the arms, palms face down. We're going to soften into that left hip. Looking toward the left middle finger, we'll inhale, straighten the left leg, arms together overhead, gaze goes up. Exhale, bend the left knee, open the arms, warrior. Inhale, lengthen and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. 2 more. Get a little bit of space into those hips. Last one. Meeting in our warrior. We're going to bring that right hand to the waist and we're going to reach that left arm far out in front of the foot. We're going to land the hand either to the ground or to a block, and we can stay here bending into the left knee if we want to challenge the balance. See if we can lift that right foot off the ground. So coming into a little half moon. So I told you this one's not going to be easy. You can do this up against the wall again if you wish. If that feels good, see if we can rotate the right shoulder back a little bit more and maybe extend the right arm up toward the ceiling. Maybe take the gaze up if you really want to challenge it, or just out to the side wall. Lifting that back foot, lengthening through the left leg for 3. Opening the heart for 2. And 1. Right hand comes back to the ground. Right foot comes up to meet left. And we'll exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Meeting at the front, feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart, arms by the side, shoulders relaxed, palms are open. Really grounding that right foot into the floor this time. Find our drishti point, our focus point. Again, ideally something that's not moving out in front, and we're going to keep that focus. Inhale, lift the left knee out in front. As we exhale, flip the palms back. We're going to press the left foot back as far as we can go and then gently hinge the body weight forward. Keep the gaze forward.
Inhale, lift the left knee high up out in front. Exhale, flip the palms back. We'll press that left foot back as far as we can go and then gently hinge the body weight forward. Last one, inhale, lift. As we exhale, soften the right knee. We're going to step all the way back into our high lunge onto the ball of that foot. Finding stability, we'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Interlock all fingers apart from the index and thumb. Arms are back in line with the ear. We're going to fold over the right leg, but keep that nice length. All the length of the spine through the fingertips, true to that left heel. Holding it for 3, for 2, and 1. We can place the hands to the ground, or if you want to challenge it, we're going to lift the body forward, straightening through that right leg and lifting that left heel as high as we can. And again, it might be a little bit more difficult on one side more so than the other, so just go into where you can. I know this is my weaker ankle, so it's always going to feel a little bit harder. Holding it wherever you are for 3, for 2, and 1. Softening the right knee. We land on the ball of the foot, opening through the heart. We drop the left heel down, open the arms, warrior. Well done. Inhale here, and as we exhale, sink a little bit deeper into the hips. Looking toward that right middle finger. We'll inhale, straighten the right leg, arms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior lunge. Inhale, lengthen and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. 2 more. Relaxing into our warrior. Allow that space happen. Keep checking in the right knee is pointed forward and not collapsing inward. Meeting in our warrior. Left hand comes to the waist. We're going to reach those right fingertips as far forward as we can go, and then we're going to land them to the ground or a block out in front. We can stay here, bending into the right knee, opening into the heart. If we want to challenge the balance, we're going to lift that left foot off the ground, keeping the right hand grounded. See if we can lift the foot almost so we're creating a nice 90-degree angle between the legs, but just lifting it as much as we can, not forcing the pose. Drawing that left shoulder back so we're looking toward the left side of the room. And then maybe even extending that left arm up toward the ceiling. Holding it here for 3. Lifting for 2. And 1. Left hand comes down to the ground, left foot comes down to meet right. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Well done. So again, you notice in our balance poses, if the mind is wandering at all, it's really difficult to achieve that balance. So this is a really nice sequence to bring focus to where you're at this morning. We're going to go into a second round. Feet nicely grounded, hip width distance apart, arms by the sides, shoulders relaxed. Left foot is grounded. We'll inhale the right knee out in front. As we exhale, hands to heart, we're going to rest the right ankle just above the left knee, coming into figure 4 or a tree pose variation, really working that right knee back. If that feels good, we're going to bend through the left knee, lowering ourselves into a quarter chair, maybe even a half chair, so getting a little bit deeper here this morning. If we find that right elbow is almost on the knee, we can always bring the fingertips toward the ground. But see if we can hover them off the ground. So although we're getting deeper into the hip, we're still working on to our balance. Holding it here, wherever you are, for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come back to heart. We're going to gently come all the way back up into our stand. We'll bring the right knee out in front. And as we exhale, soften the left knee. We're going to step that right foot all the way back to our lunge. Drop the right heel down, open the arms here. Inhale, straighten the left leg, arms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the left knee, warrior. Inhale, lengthen and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. Last one. This time we're going to inhale, straighten the left leg, keep it straight. As we exhale, reach those fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg, extend the right arm up. Pressing the hip forward, drawing the shoulder back, taking the gaze up here for 3. Feeling that space for 2. And 1, inhale, right arm all the way overhead. And as we exhale, bring the right hand down to meet left. Inhale, both arms together all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the left knee, warrior. Again, right hand comes to the hip. We're going to reach those left fingertips as far forward as we can go. Land them to the ground. Again, you can stay here, opening into that heart space, working into the hip. If you want to work into the balance, we're going to lift that right foot off the ground. Left hand stays grounded, either on the ground or on the block. We're lifting that back leg. See if we can straighten the left leg. Opening the heart, really drawing that right shoulder back. Maybe reaching those fingertips toward the ceiling. Gaze is out to the right, maybe even up toward the ceiling if you want to really challenge the balance. Lifting that back leg for 3, for 2, and 1. Right hand comes to the ground. Little add-on here. We're going to soften the left knee, bend the right knee, place the right knee behind the left, and then we'll walk those hands so they're just out front of the left foot. So we're coming into our little pelican pose. Drawing the right heel toward the bum. And again, make sure we're not collapsing into one hip more so than the other. We can stay here. We can hover the fingertips off the ground, or we can bring the hands to heart center. Holding it here. Draw those shoulder blades together for 3. Drawing the belly in for 2. And 1, hands come to the ground. Right foot comes down to meet left. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Well done. Second side. Meaning at the front, feet nicely grounded. Hip width distance apart, shoulders relaxed, heart is open, palms are open. We're going to really ground that right foot into our mats. Finding our drishti point, we're going to keep our gaze focused out in front. As we inhale, lift the left knee out in front. Bringing those hands to heart, we're going to rest the left ankle just above or just below the knee. If the ankle is above the knee, see if we can soften that right knee. So we're sitting back into a little quarter chair. Lowering, maybe coming into a little half chair. Try not to lean too far forward or lean too far back. Really feeling that in the standing leg. If the elbow is quite close to the knee, we can always reach those fingertips toward the ground, maybe even hooking that right toe around the elbow. So we're getting a little bit deeper into the hip, but that we're still working in the balance, just floating the fingertips off the ground. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale all the way back up, hands come back to heart. We'll bring that left knee out in front, soften the right knee. We're going to step all the way back into our high lunge. Drop the left heel down, open the arms into our warrior. Right knee, right foot point forward. We're sinking into those hips. Inhale, straighten the right leg, arms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior. Inhale, lengthen and rise. Exhale, warrior lunge. Last one. Really strong in those hips. We're going to meet in our warrior. Inhale, straighten the right leg, keep it straight. As we exhale, reach those fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg. We'll extend the left arm up, pressing the left hip forward, drawing the left shoulder back, and looking up for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, left arm all the way overhead, reach, and as we exhale, left hand comes down to meet right. Inhale, both arms together, all the way back up. And as we exhale, bend the right knee, open the arms, warrior. Left hand comes to the hip. We're going to reach those right fingertips as far forward as the body as we can go. Resting the hand to the ground. Again, we can stay here, just working into that hip as we draw that left shoulder back. If we want to work into our half moon, right hand stays grounded. We're going to gently, slowly lift that left foot off the ground. So right hand stays on the ground or on the block. We're lifting that back leg as high as we can. See if we can straighten the right leg. Drawing that left shoulder back. Again, really digging that right big toe into the floor. Maybe extend that left arm up toward the ceiling. Gazes out to the left or maybe toward the ceiling. Holding it here, lifting that back leg for 3. Opening the heart for 2. And 1. Left hand comes back to the ground. Again, we're going to soften the right knee, bend the left knee, we place it behind the right. We're going to walk those hands back so they're just in front of that right foot. We're drawing the left heel toward the bum. Staying here, this is strong in itself. We don't need to do anything further. If we want to challenge it, we can have our 1 hand, 2 hands off the ground, or we can bring those hands to heart and draw those shoulders from the ears for 3. For 2. And 1, hands come to the ground. Left foot comes down to meet right, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Little flow. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. We can step or lightly jump back to plank. If we're jumping, we're going to land as softly as we can. Inhale here in plank. And as we exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to the ground, maybe cobra, upward dog. Press those feet into the ground as we open into the heart. Exhale, tuck the toes. Press the ground away, lift the hips. Downward dog. Stillness, walk it out, child's pose if you wish. We're going to finish in our pigeon this morning, so all the hard work is done. We'll inhale the right leg back and up, looking forward. Bend the right knee into the chest. We're going to rest the right knee just behind the right wrist on the ground, resting the right foot down, resting the left knee down. We'll untuck the toe and we're going to walk that left foot back as far as we can, so we start to feel a nice release into that right glute. Those hands are back by the body to start with. That right shin can be at any angle, 30, 45 degrees, parallel to the front edge of the mat, but just make sure we feel we have a lovely stable tripod with that right calf, right leg, and that left hip. Staying nice and high here to start with until we feel that stability, and then just sink those hips a little bit closer toward the ground. Notice if we're feeling pressure in the lower back, just gently draw the belly in. And if we wish, we're just going to release softly into the hips. So we're going to walk those hands forward. Coming on to the forearms. Again, do feel free to stay high in your proud pigeon. We might stay here. We might rest the head into the hands. We might walk the hands forward all the way out front and rest the forehead to the ground, to a block, or make a little pillow by piling one wrist on top of the other. Just make sure whichever we've chosen that our head and our neck are fully supported. Notice if we've collapsed onto that right side, just gently press the left hip down. And again, if pigeon is not feeling so good for you, particularly on the knee and ankle, you can always set yourself up into your 90 degree legs, and still we can fall over that right leg. So we can still get into the hip. We're just not going as deep into the joints. So again, your choice. We're going to stay here for about a minute. So I want you to find a place, a space that you feel that you're falling into as opposed to holding. So something that you can release into. And then if the body wants to go deeper, between the breath, gravity, the body itself, it will go deeper. So again, just finding that space, that sweet spot. Take your time. And then we're going to sink here, relaxing, releasing with the breath. And when you find that spot, I want you to really focus in on that lovely deep belly breath. As we inhale, create as much space into the torso as we can, using that breath. And as we exhale, pressing out every little bit of stale air and energy that we're holding within the body. Just let it go. And again, listening to your body throughout the pose. If there's any pain at all, we're backing off, any numbness, any tingling. So it should just feel like a nice, sweet release here. So again, don't force the pose. Nice and easy. Breathing into that right hip space, almost visualizing the air that we're breathing in, working its way around that right hip, down into the hamstring, up into the lower back, massaging out that whole area of the body. Relax the hands, relax the head, relax the neck. Last couple of breaths on this side. When you're ready, we're going to tuck the chin, slowly come back up onto the hands. We're just going to pause here for a moment, really opening into that heart space. For 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come back to the ground out front. We'll tuck the left toe under, come off the knee. Really slowly, we'll bring the right foot back to meet left, lift the hips, and walk it out ever so gently in our downward dog. Just getting a little bit of blood flow and energy back into that right hip and leg. Coming to stillness. We'll inhale the left leg back and up, looking forward. We'll bend the left knee. We're going to place the left knee behind the left wrist, resting the shin to the ground. Right knee comes to the ground. We'll untuck the toe, walk that right foot back as far as we can. Bringing that shin parallel, 45, 30 degrees to the front edge of the mat. Just make sure the heel isn't tucked in under the leg. And if it is, you're probably better coming into your figure 4 so that you can really get that space into the hips. We're going to come high up onto the fingertips. Maybe draw the left toe toward the knee to keep that lower leg nice and active. Relax the shoulders, sinking those hips toward the ground. Making sure the body is facing forward and not turning out to the right. When that feels good, we can gently fold over the left leg, coming down onto the forearms. We can stay here, maybe supporting the head with the hands. We can fall all the way forward, resting the forehead to the ground, to a block, or making a little pillow by piling one hand or one arm on top of the other and just resting the forehead here. Again, we will be feeling this predominantly into the left hip, but try not to collapse to the left. So still pressing that right hip toward the ground, maintaining balance throughout the body. As we inhale, think about lengthening, creating space into the spine. And as we exhale, gently fold a little bit deeper. Allow the heart melt, allow the belly melt. Relax the shoulders. Notice if we're gripping the hands, relax those fingers, relax those wrists. Consciously breathing deep into the belly, feeling it as the rib cage expands. Every exhale, feel free to sigh the breath out if it feels better. Last couple of breaths on this side. And again, just notice how it feels compared to the other, not forcing one side to do what the other side just did. But do notice, do pay attention. Last breath. We're going to tuck the chin, slowly come back up onto the hands. Again, bringing those hands back by the body. Just for a moment, opening into our proud pigeon, really drawing those shoulder blades back together for 3. For 2. And 1, walking the hands forward. We'll tuck the right toe under, come off the knee, and really slowly, one last time, lift the hips, walk it out in our downward dog, nice and easy. Notice if we've got a little bit more space, or if those heels are dropping a little bit easier toward the ground. Taking any variation on our downward dog that feels good for you this morning, any movement at all. We're going to meet in stillness, gently release down onto the knees. Bring the big toes to touch. We'll tuck the chin and walk those hands all the way back toward the knees until we're sitting back up onto the heels. Bringing the knees together, we can finish our practice here. We can come back into easy cross-legged or any other seat that feels more comfortable for you this morning. And we're going to finish just like we started. So palms are open, shoulders relaxed, heart is open, spine is long. Relax the breath. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward, release the breath, sigh it out and let it go. We'll do that 2 more times. Gently bring the hands to heart, press the palms together, close down the eyes, and just thank yourself for creating a wee bit of space in your morning to come to the mat, to look after yourself, to create some lovely energy, some really great strength and stability, and hopefully take that with you into the day and into the rest of the week ahead. And thank you for sharing your practice and your energy with me. Namaste.